Hello all and welcome to my fourth video for our project setup. Now that we are done with the project overview, I would like to move on to how to set up your network hardware at home such that you are able to realize the programs which will be taught in class starting next week onwards. This video is for VirtualBox users only. However, if you are using virtual machine software like VMware, you can have a similar process. So let's begin. Here I have two virtual machines. One is running Ubuntu and the other is running Windows 7. So if I click on the Ubuntu virtual machine, 1 minute. I think I accidentally double clicked on it, but if I click on the Ubuntu virtual machine such that it is selected and then go to settings, I can see I can change the settings here. So I would like to go to network, and here in your under tab adapter 1, you might be having under tab adapter 1 the enable network adapter option. Please enable that, and you might see this option which says attached to. If the default address or the default option is NAT, which stands for network address translation, I would recommend that you change it change it to a bridged adapter. Now you can see a second option which has turned up. In my case, it is the Realtek PCIe GBE family controller. I would recommend to you that if you are using internet or network connectivity over Wi-Fi through your laptop, please check if you have any wireless device in this list. Since I do not use wireless at home, I have only the Realtek option enabled by default. If you are using wireless, check if you find out any kind of wireless hardware on your system based on the drop down list which you can see. Do not ever select TAP Windows Adapter 9. That is for virtual addresses, and we won't be needing that right now. If you can, look for Broadcom or any similar hardware which supports the protocol which is named 802.11 followed by a letter which can be either B for Bangalore, G for Gangtok, or N for Nagaland. In my case, it is 802.11N. In your case, it might be 802.11B, G, or N. So select that and apply these settings onto your virtual machine. So here we go. So since I use Ethernet or wired connection, I would select the Realtek PCIe GBE family controller. And do not modify any settings under the advanced panel. They are automatically handled by the software. Click on OK and let's begin. So as you might be knowing, you gave a test on Unix concepts. So that was run using an HTTP server. So if I just start that HTTP server, so my HTTP server and my database server is running. So yes, and here's my login screen. So I would just enter the password. So as you can see, this signifies network connectivity. So let's try. Let's use our network diagnostic commands, which I recommended you to go through. So if we do an ifconfig, so you can see that my IP address is 192.168.11.3 on the virtual machine. Similarly, on the Windows 8 machine, which is my host operating system, if I use the command line to find out what my IP address is, well, my IP address happens to be 192.168.11.2. Now, since my HTTP server is running on my Windows 8 machine here, if I type in the IP 192.168.11.2 in my guest operating system, which is Ubuntu, I should get the login panel similar to what you saw today. So if I open the browser here, and move on to the IP that is 192.168.11.2 and press enter, there you go. I get the login page which you saw during your first quiz. So on an abstract platform, you can see inter-process communication happening between host 1, which is this Ubuntu virtual machine, and host 2, which is my Windows 8 host machine running an HTTP server. Now, to give you a reverse connection, if I type localhost on my Ubuntu system, it also gives me an HTTP server just to check for back connectivity. If I open Windows 8's Firefox browser and type in the IP of the Ubuntu virtual machine, that is 192.168.11.3, I get the same output as the local host, that is the Ubuntu virtual machine. As a result, I have established inter-process communication which supports the HTTP protocol over two hosts. So make sure that your network configuration is as mentioned, and you will face no problems whatsoever. If at all you do face any problems, feel free to contact me. I'll be very, very happy to help you out. So once again, go to settings in your Ubuntu virtual machine, and under network and whatever adapter you might have enabled, you need to change this to bridged adapter. We will see what bridged and concepts like NAT or network address translation mean. They are very interesting concepts, but at the same time they have some drawbacks. But for inter-process communication, a bridged adapter running on the hardware you use for networking, it might be wired or wireless, needs to be used. Do not use TAP Windows Adapter version 9 or any version for that matter. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you found it helpful.